Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 36 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Wow, man, what a great time to be a Kiss fan. We've seen the release of Off the Soundboard, the A&E documentary, of course, the Destroyer Deluxe box set, and now, finally, the Elder is getting the respect and recognition it deserves with the release of the 40th anniversary vinyl and a ton of Elder merchandise, such as mugs, t-shirts, and lithographs.
The attention the Elder is receiving has reached an all-time high with the release of Ancient Door, a tribute to music from the Elder. So you have heard our next guest on countless podcasts, such as Alive Unplugged, the music of Kiss with Cameron Duty, and the Kiss FAQ podcast with Julian Gill. And now, ladies and gentlemen, he is here with us on the Kiss Army Nation podcast. Kiss Army, please welcome Christopher Borjars.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So today we're going to talk about all things Elder. So let's begin with the following question. So as a Kiss fan, Chris, where did your passion for the Elder come from?
I became a huge Kiss fan back in '83 with the Lick It Up album, and I started collecting right from the get-go, buying every album I could get my hands on. So, but the Elder was unknown to me. I actually picked it up on a school trip in '85, and I put it on, and first you're a bit puzzled. What is this? With songs like Fanfare and the big voices on Under the Rose. It was like, wow, this is certainly different, but I love it. And for me, I think growing up like a Star Wars fan and everything, and you get this album, which it relates to the Star Wars and Lord of the Rings sort of story. I really took to it. I loved it. So it grew very fast for me, from being a bit puzzled the first couple of times to, wow, this is really cool. So, yeah.
So it's safe to say that the Elder is your favorite album.
Yeah, I have to say that. I love all Kiss albums pretty much, but the Elder has a special place in my heart for sure.
So like I said earlier on, the Elder never got the recognition it deserved, and finally it's getting it. So as a huge Elder fan, how do you feel about the recent recognition the Elder has been getting?
It's about time, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's true.
Finally, people see the light.
Yeah, nice.
Well, I think it's great, and I certainly have seen the last couple of years that people have discovered this album or rediscovered this album, and we all grow up, right? And our tastes change a little bit, matures maybe, and an album like The Elder, I think, it speaks not to kids, more like an adult audience. So maybe we grew up with the album and discovered that, wow, this is pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I'm very glad that people have discovered it, recognized it. The only thing that I think is a bit sad is that Paul and Gene keeps
bashing the product.
Yeah,
the album.
I don't know why. But they've always measured quality in sales, which I think is not the same thing. You can make something that's really, really good, but it was the wrong timing or other factors makes it less successful. But it doesn't matter doesn't make it a bad product. And I think that you should recognize that many people do love this album.
Yeah, true. But I think that it's also related to the fact that because they, both Paul and Gene, they studied to bash basically the album a long time ago. Now, even though maybe they do not believe that it's that bad as they say, they cannot change, the message. So they have to keep going with the same, stuff over and over again.
Yeah. You got to keep in mind that when they brought in Bob Ezrin to do the Destroyer album, the first interviews that they made around Destroyer, they were a bit reluctant to lift that album as a classic. They were like, yeah, it's all good, but the next album, that's going to be rock and roll again.
That's right.
And then it turned out to be a huge seller and a real staple for them. And then, of course, the rest is history. That never happened with the Elder, and I hope someday it will.
True. You know, Chris, we're gonna get into the making of Ancient Door, a tribute to the music from the Elder, a little later on. But when you were creating this project, what were you expecting and hoping the fan reaction would be?
To be honest, I didn't expect anything. I never thought there would be a reaction, because I did this for me. I started the project myself first, and then I'm thankful for Jolene coming in and kind of rescuing the project, helping me out. But this is for us. We never thought that anyone else would be interested, to be honest. And then along the ride, along the journey, we discovered that more and more people were kind of interested in what we were doing. So I didn't really have any expectations. I was just so thrilled that finally we brought this, to a conclusion, and we finally got it done. So no real expectations of any kind.
And now that the CD has been released, so can you tell us what is the fan reaction? Because I'm seeing more and more people, so happy with your product. And tell us about it. How do they feel? What kind of messages are you getting from fans? It's awesome. I never believed this would happen, and I'm so thankful to all the guys out there that has bought this album.
We sold albums to America, we sold them to Asia, Australia, all over Europe.
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah. Right.
I count as a part of America.
Right, yeah. Most people do.
North America. And the reactions have been great. People have been so kind to us, and not only bought the album, they get back to us and tell us how much they love the product, the album, the music, and what we've done. And I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's been so kind to us and really, supported us and taken the time to get back to us and reviewing the album with such nice words, And so I'm dumbfounded, really. I can't.
I think we're going to go into detail later on with Pasc, but what I have to say is that most Kiss fans, what we're looking for is something fresh, and I think that the uniqueness of this project makes it so remarkable, and because we've been hearing, demos and stuff, and we're looking, forward to the box set and, demo releases. But, something of this caliber, and actually with so much work and so much passion put into it, it makes it so special. So we need to thank you for that, you and Jolene, because it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been a fun ride, and it's so fun to sit here and talking about the Elder. Has never been easy, It's hard to find people to really talk about this wonderful album with, So it's just an amazing part of my life. I'm so thankful.
So, Chris, you mentioned that this project has been a journey. Let's begin that journey through the Ancient Door with this question. So, what makes this project different from other tribute albums? And before you answer, is this really a tribute album? Because I see it as sort of like a reimagining of the Elder album. What do you think?
Well, I think that's true, but it's also a tribute for me. I love the original, so this is my tribute to it. I did this because I love the music, and I wanted more people to understand what a great album it is. If they do it through our album, that's great. But just the fact that we're sitting here talking about the Elder, and the Elder turning 40 this year it's a wonderful time. So what's different? Well, I think there aren't too many tribute albums made out there that's been an album back to back.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually compilations of songs. And also, it's usually a lot of fans getting together and recording. So there's a lot of people involved in these projects. It looks like me and Jolene, we don't have any friends, so we have to do everything ourselves, I guess. we're two lonely souls in Sweden. Long winters, you know all about that. So
oh yeah, we do.
We got too much time on our hands, so we made this.
Nice. Now, the packaging is often a first impression of a record or CD, and God knows that the cover of Ancient Door is just spectacular. By looking at the cover, you know that the music is going to be colossal and epic. So tell us what went into the creation of the cover. Who came up with the idea? Who were the people involved?
My initial idea for the cover was what turned up on the back of the album, which is a door open with the fingers sticking out. And my vision of that was now we finally open that magical door.
Right.
Both to this album and to this story, but also to the music and returning and going through that door and finding out more about this piece of music. So that was my initial thought, but I thought it wasn't speaking enough, I think, to me or to potential listeners. So, and then I was sitting doing some covers for another project. So I was making that in my computer and was online, and I stumbled across this painting from an artist from Germany. His name is Tabor, and I saw that picture and I said, "Wow, that's me, and that's my vision of the elder." Because it's the guy who stands there with the sword, kind of stepping into this imaginary landscape, and you have the ship that sails through the stormy seas. You have what I believe is the Blackwell's castle, and all those elements were in that picture. And I said, "Wow!" So I did some research on the painting, and I could use it, but it was like a freebie. So it might be out there in other contexts. I don't know. And I said, okay, so we might have to share this with some other product. I don't care, because this is perfect for us. So we pretty much were handed the perfect cover. So I added, the logo and stuff like that. And I had a friend called Ulrik Amnetig who helped me put it all together. I'm not good with all this computer stuff when it comes to printing stuff. I'm a musician, so I'm not an artwork guy. So I had help from him, and also inside I kind of paid tribute. All the words and the lyrics that are inside the gatefold of the original. I told my story instead of the story of the elders that's in the original.
Okay.
So there's all sorts of small, nods to the original. I hope that people will find amusing.
Nice.
That's amazing. So, Chris, before we continue, I think this is the perfect time to talk to our listeners. So, Kiss Army, please. Ancient Door is truly a musical experience. So if you wanted to maximize the experience, I suggest you do the following, okay? So if you're listening to this podcast right now, I suggest you stop it right here. So get your hands on Ancient Door, a tribute to the music from the Elder, and give it a good listen. Take your time, give it a good listen. Then go to Ancient Door Project on Facebook and check out the 5-part behind-the-scene videos that Chris and Jolene put together. So when you completed the videos, listen to the Ancient Door again, and I guarantee you will have gotten the full immersive experience. It's something unbelievable, something that you cannot think that it was possible to do. So we strongly suggest here in the podcast with Pask and Chris that you do that. So now back to Chris. So this is the feeling we got with Pask when we listened to the music and watched the videos. So what is your reasoning behind doing those videos?
The idea actually came from a friend in a KISS forum here in Sweden who knew about the project and said, why don't you show what it's like behind the scenes? We want to see what you're doing in the studio, because I believe this is a great project. And we thought about it and said, wow, that's an odd way of marketing this,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So why not bring people into, behind the scenes and watch how we have developed this project from the first few notes to where we are now, finished with all the channels mixed and everything. So we thought it was kind of an odd and cool idea to market the upcoming album that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everyone listening is now back. And because we're going to take our journey, we're going to continue our journey through the ancient door. So I want to now focus on the album itself and the songs and how you conceptualized each of the songs and made your vision come to life. Because what I found interesting about this project was that there's something different about every song that somehow brings the entire story together and brings the album together sonically. It's so fascinating. So for example, Fanfare, it's the opening track of the album, but it's really the trailer for the rest of the album. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I have always, and I guess a lot of Kiss fans who like The Elder has always wanted someone to make the movie that this album is about. That would be a dream come true. There was a guy that tried, I think in 2012, to do some kind of new take on it, but nothing happened. Nothing came out of that, unfortunately. But I've always seen a movie in my head when I listen to this album. And I've always seen this album as a soundtrack. So it was pretty obvious to me when I started the project, and I wanted to have that, cinematic feel to the entire album. And of course, Fanfare, great opening track for me, I think. So I can't take credit for that. I just handed that over to Jolene, who's fantastic at those kind of things. She sits and works with trailers all the time, and I just said I would love to have this as a trailer. Think of it as a modern trailer, and people will get interested in. We can use it as a trailer for the album too, and
absolutely
put it online. Mm-hmm. And she did a great job on it. I mean, I think I love the original as all the tracks, but I think I brought something new to it and kind of an anticipation for things to come. Mm-hmm. That that there's something more than this, not just a nice fanfare track. That builds a feeling that I hope we could continue through the entire album. So that was our goal with that. Yeah.
It is true. It makes you, it creates that desire to keep going. It's like the opening, to something that you don't know what's going to happen. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And Claudio mentioned earlier, give this CD a good listen. For example, Just a Boy, right? There's that extra solo in there that just, that just gave that song a different feel, a different epic feel to it. Why that extra solo?
Well, I love the 12-string guitars on the original, and I always thought that you could make that a little bit more medieval, the whole song. And a good way of doing that is bringing more acoustic instruments into the mix. So I actually added a couple of mandolins. There are some flutes in the background too. And with them in place, they blended really well with the 12-string guitars. It felt kind of natural to just have that classical guitar being a part of the solo. And also I had the idea of starting with that and going into the more traditional with the electric guitar solo would be a nice give a nice flow to both the solos and the song.
And it was actually Jolene that played the classical guitar, right, on that part?
Yeah, she's a talented little girl.
Oh yeah. My goodness, man, that was awesome. So awesome.
Actually, she started off as a classical guitar player. That was her first instrument, and what got her into music school from the beginning, where she changed to drums. So she got a lot of degrees in drums and percussion.
Okay,
she's helpful. But she's a classical guitar player from the start, and now she's a very good bass player too. So and piano player.
Nice. Pascal, let me just go off rail just a little bit. I have a question for Chris. Is she also a Kiss fan?
She wasn't when I met her.
Okay.
And that's the odd thing, because when we met and started making music together, she knew that I was a Kiss fan, and she never really listened to them. So by herself, she just opened Spotify and said, "Okay, I'll give Kiss a chance. I'll just take a random album and listen to it." And she picked Music from the Elder.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Love it.
And she got back to me and said, "Wow, I listened to Kiss, and I thought that was like I Was Made for Loving You, but this is really different. This is really good." So there was a love for first. She loved Music from the Elder. Then she got to like Kiss, and we've been to Kiss concerts together.
Right.
So that was really an eye opener for her.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Now back to the album. Again, the beauty of the CD is that you need to listen to it often to catch the nuances, right? And one of those nuances is in Only You, because you add components in that song that ties in the album together sonically. Tell us about that.
I think, first of all, I think Only You is a real key track to the album, to the storyline. And also, as people will notice, we changed the track order of the album to what I believe is the way it should be to get the story in the correct order. And Only You is a real important track in that way, because that's where the boy finds out that there's a prophecy, that he's part of this story, that they expect him to do certain things, and this. So it's a big piece of the story of the album is actually in those few minutes. So I really wanted to emphasize what's really the Elder with the orchestra and all the music, and try to make it like a little journey of its own. So it's an important track. So I included some extra big horns, some staccato strings on it. Also worked a lot with dynamics in the song. So we take it down at one point to just one little guitar, and then going back into full scale with big drums, big heavy guitars, the brass, the strings section, and everything. So I love doing that song, and I knew that I would love doing it. So I saved that to one of the last tracks on the album to record, because I love it.
One of my favorite songs on the album is Under the Rose. It's so spectacular and over the top. It's just an incredible song. And you mentioned that it has one of your favorite solos on that song.
Time.
Yes. And then you added to your favorite solo. I find that incredible.
Oh, it's scary too.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think that solo is perfect. So what do you do? Well, if I would play it note by note, just the way it is, that would be a pale copy of the original. So I didn't really want to do that. So my take on it was I would use a different kind of guitar. This one with a whammy bar, that wow, you can bend notes with that. So I used that to get it. It's basically the same notes, a little bit different in the rhythm in some places. But what I did is I used the whammy bar to get a different sound to the notes, and that was a highlight of the recordings for me that night, when I said, okay, this is the night. I'm gonna tackle this. It's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be fun, and it was great.
Now, on the original album, there were some songs, Love It and Leave It, and to be honest, one of the songs I wasn't really crazy about was Dark Light.
Yeah,
but then I heard it on you too, eh? But then I heard it on your CD. It's like, oh my God, this is what the song should have sounded like. Yeah. The percussions on that song was just incredible, thunderous. Tell us more about that.
Oh, that's it. It was a difficult track to do, because Ace is so special, first of all, and I have to agree with you. If there's one song that I could imagine to take out of the album, perhaps is that song. I know that Ace, for a fact, wasn't too keen on the idea of this project. So, I mean, he wrote the song "Don't Run."
Yep.
He demoed it, but then I think Lou Reed was involved in that one, if I'm not mistaken, to rewrite all the lyrics to fit the concept. So maybe that makes it a little odd song in that sense. The percussion, well, there's a lot of percussion on the original, and I think that's really cool. So once again, I got Jolene, who works with these things, and we recorded those percussion parts back in 2016, I believe, when she was still working as a music teacher on the music high school here in Karlstad, Sweden. So we had access to a lot of percussion instruments in that school. So we took one day and went to her workplace, basically set up a lot of microphones, and we tried a lot of stuff. And she plays on the album these big orchestral toms, the timpani and shakers, and a lot of and she just went nuts. And I think it was really cool. So a lot of experimentation, and in mixing mode, you have to, as they say in the business, kill your darlings. You have to throw some things away because you can't use all of it. But I think the mix in all sounds really cool.
Oh, you know, the mix is amazing, and you can actually identify all the different layers. You know, you have the cymbals, you have the congos, you have all kinds of stuff. You know, it's so amazing. So let's continue this fun journey. So now we're getting to A World Without Heroes. Okay, so when you listen to the orchestra arrangement, you can tell that it was different. Right, but you find a way to still stay true to the original. So how did you do that?
Well, in fact, when I started recording the project, we pretty much made demos of every single song pretty much the way it is written.
Okay.
So we did a cover album note by note, basically. Mm-hmm. And from that we did all the arrangements and everything, and then sat down with each song and tried to make it our own. And when it came to A World Without Heroes, I knew that I wanted a lot more voices on there, like choirs, especially in the second verse. And you have to leave room for that. So you have to work your way around that and kind of blend the new material that we add to the song and write the old material around that. So that's the tricky part, you know, because I love the original arrangement of that song. So some parts of it are pretty much the way Kiss recorded it, but we did our own versions, parts of the song, yeah, especially in the second verse.
And that was actually the original idea for the project, right? So it was not just to play note by note, but you add to every single song something special. That was from the beginning, I guess. Your project.
I think without Jolene, I might have made an album that's pretty much the way it was. And when she came in, she said, "Well, we should make it our own. And we should."
Nice.
And it, of course, it makes sense, you know. But you're in, you know.
Yeah.
You got your blindfolds on. You're so, you know,
right.
ready to go the way you thought. And of course, it makes sense, because who needs another note by note copy of the Elder? It's perfect the way it is. So
exactly.
So hats off to her, you know. Very, very good call there.
Awesome. So now we're getting into one of the favorites, you know, for fans, you know, the Oath, and in one of your videos you mentioned, you know, how challenging, you know, the vocals for that song are and were, you know, to record. So a lot of falsetto. You know, Paul has been blasted, you know, in history for singing that way. Can you tell us more about that? Because I think it's a true essence of what the album is, you know, the way he sings that song.
Yeah, he sure took a lot of chances on this album, and I think he should be proud of that. Instead, he's kind of like shying away from that and saying, "Oh no, I don't like the way I sing Odyssey. I don't like the way I sing The Oath. Why didn't I sing it in a full voice instead of the falsetto?" But I believe that the falsetto, since it's still the story about the boy, in that it's about the boy swearing the oath, the falsetto ties it together with just the boy. Mm-hmm. So I think that's beautiful. So I'm glad he did it that way, and I think he did a great job with it. And it's challenging to move between the falsetto, especially in Just a Boy. There's quite a range. So it was challenging. But on the other hand, this album is the only one that I actually can sing, because he sings so, the high-pitched notes, the notes that he takes on every other album is just, he's an amazing singer. So it was a challenge, but I'm glad that he did it that way. And also people slam him for the falsetto parts. I don't understand that quite, because we have I Was Made for Loving You, Magic Touch, just 2 years prior to that, where he has a lot of falsetto. Sure, there's a lot of fans who rejected that album because of the disco and stuff like that, but he's done it before. So I think he did a great job, and I hope I didn't let the music down by doing it my way.
And now that we're talking about falsetto, he's still doing it. With Soul Station, it's full of it. All over the place.
Yeah, and he did the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
Yeah.
And he didn't like the way he sang Odyssey, and then he did the Phantom of the Opera. So
that's right.
Give it time. They'll come around.
Exactly. So Chris, you being a fantastic musician, you came up with a great idea for Mr. Blackwell when you came up with this kind of strange, guitar sounds, kind of reversed, guitars. You recorded and you go backtrack it. So how did you come up with that idea?
Well, Kiss have done it on a couple of songs prior to that, and Ace did it on one of the solos in Speeding Back to My Baby on his solo album from '78.
78, okay.
And back then that was quite a deal, because you had to take the 2-inch tape and reverse the tape and play the song backwards and then play to that.
Right.
But in Ace's instance, I think they actually recorded the solo separately on a smaller recorder and then played that into the tape. I read somewhere. But nowadays, you just reverse the files, which is much, much simpler. But you still have to plan what you want, because you have to think the whole solo backwards. So if you want to finish on a certain note, you have to start the solo on that.
Right, exactly. Right.
So, and it's trial and error. But there's a lot of backward guitars, I think 5 or 6 at least, that makes it a haunting and kind of eerie sound, which I like. It fits the song and the sound, because we did a lot of experimentation on Mr. Blackwell and kind of made it an ode or a tribute by itself to Bob Ezrin's work on God of Thunder, which I think they're kind of sibling tracks, that same vibe to them. So
true. I never thought of that. That's true. Yeah.
So we added the kids and a lot of background noises and squeaks and screeks and then of course, as you say, the backwards guitars and a little distortion on some of the vocals to make it more sinister.
More mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what about Escape from the Island? So what can you tell us about that experience?
Well, I think that's a really cool track. Actually, I believe it's more like a bass guitar track than a guitar track. The bass guitar stuff on that track is awesome. I've always loved it. And it's actually Bob Ezrin playing bass on the original. So that's a 3-piece recording they did late in the sessions up in Toronto with Bob Ezrin on bass, Eric Carr, and Ace Frehley. So I had a blast playing the bass on that one. I think it's great. And this is a track that oddly is the first Kiss song that I played with my friend Henrik Halvarsson back in high school. I guess we were like 13, 14 years old. We played that song over and over and over again, and I don't think we ever got it right. So it was due time to actually get that song and down the way we thought it would be. So it's a cool track. We added some I don't know if you noticed, but there are some sound effects in the background trying to create more of the feeling of a chase and an escape. You also have, of course, the air raid horn and that.
Yeah, of course.
Little elements that we added to the song more to give it a more of a the feel of someone trying to escape.
More cinematic, you know.
Yeah,
idea.
And also there's a little drum solo in there. I think Jolene executes great. Yeah. I played her. I think the solo from "Rip It Out." So it's kind of a tribute both to Eric Carr and to Anton Fig.
Anton Fig, yeah.
And I think she did a great job on that.
Well, in one of the videos, we cannot see, you know, Jolene's solo, but she mentions that it's the perfect mix of Eric Carr and Anton Fig, right? So,
yeah.
Hey, Chris, we're getting into one of the faves. I guess there's no doubt that, in my case, at least for Odyssey and Only You, as you said before, those two songs to me paint, you know, what the Elder is, okay? Yeah. The concept and the sound, the orchestra. So what were the challenges to make this song happen? Because actually I think that you enhance it so much that it's beautiful, you know, song in itself, but I think yours is the best I've ever had.
Wow, because I love Kiss versions, and I also love Tony Power's version, the original.
Of course, the original,
And I think there's a piano version out there where I think an Italian girl singing it. It's an amazing track, and it's very complex musically. The chord progression on that song is just stunning. So besides from being a challenging track, you know, for a Kiss track, it's very advanced harmonies.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
And then you have the full thing with the orchestra, and we really took our time on that one, working with the orchestral parts, arranging and recording every single instrument separately, every violin or viola or percussion part or the brass, the horns separately from the trombones and so on. So it added up to a lot of tracks, close to 100 tracks that had to be arranged and then mixed.
Wow.
Jolene did an amazing job on the mix on that one, because there's a lot of things going on, and you want certain parts to pop out at the right time, or so it won't just be a mash of things happening at once, you know. So it was challenging. Musically, the most challenging song or piece to piece together and mix. I believe it was very challenging. Yeah.
But a beautiful, result. I think it's fantastic. So the last track on the album, again, I guess here Jolene, she adds, the drumming that makes it, so special. It gives a cinematic feel to the song. I guess that you also put many different layers of drumming in that song.
Yeah. Of course, it's the drum kit and the guitars and bass are all there, and it basically it's a rock song. It was challenging in that way that it is basically a rock song. So I had to think a lot about what to do with that song. We stretched out some parts, we added some guitars and had longer mid-section of it so we could play around. And I think it was one of the last things that we added to the album actually was those really big cinematic drums that Jolene plays on that one. And I think there's some pictures of those big drums on the behind the scenes clips, I believe too. And I agree. It adds a bit of a cinematic feel to it. And also, of course, it's the end of the album, so it has to connect with all the other tracks and kind of
it does. Well, this is a beautiful recap. And I have just one more question before I pass the talk to Pask. Given the fact that you added so much stuff, okay, that you gave the Elder like a new approach, was it difficult to find the point where you said, well, this is it, this is enough. You know, we do not add more stuff, because it's, if not, becomes endless, right? So every song can also have more and more stuff. So was it difficult for you guys to say, okay, this is what we want for the song, we don't add anything else?
Yeah, most definitely. Especially on songs like Only You, which I previously mentioned, is kind of a journey in itself. I think it's a great track, and it's very diverse. You could go on forever on that track. I could probably make an album just out of that track if no one stopped me. so but as I said, it's a matter of kill your darlings. You try a lot of stuff, and then you realize I can't have all of that, because sometimes less is more, and you don't want to stray too far from the original too, you know. So
exactly.
It's a fine line, and I hope we stayed true enough to the original, but also added something that makes it worth listening to our version too.
Well said. Nice.
So one final question to wrap up the story of the Elder. First, you know, we talked about how, you know, Paul and Gene always puts down the Elder. Have you considered giving Paul and Gene a copy of the CD?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Do it.
Gene is famous for collecting everything, so I might start with him. I'm not sure that Paul ever would, you know, appreciate why you're bringing that up. You know, maybe have that. So sure, maybe. We're actually working on our first video now.
Oh, nice.
For the track "The World Without Heroes." So I was sitting working with that when you guys called. So we hope to get that out sometime next week, maybe.
Oh, nice!
Looking forward to it.
And maybe that's a way to shout out and say, "Hey, Paul, Gene, we've actually done something here," and maybe they'll notice it that way. I don't know. But as I said, I did this for me, not for Paul and Gene, and I'm so grateful that people have discovered our little project and think it's cool. So.
And you also worked really hard to make sure that this CD is released on the 40th anniversary, because you and I talked online about releasing a vinyl, which would have been released weeks and weeks later.
Yeah.
This is why you were
crazy.
focusing
The delivery
on the CD.
time on vinyl is, I believe, 28 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it would be in the 41st anniversary, which isn't that cool, is it?
No. So how do you want history to remember your project?
Oh, that's a difficult question, because I never imagined that we would ever make a dent in history, even if it's a small dent. Where I guess for us it was a work of love. We loved doing this, and we did it for the love of the album. And I hope that people watch this and think that these guys really love doing this. Hats off to them. And I hope that people keep rediscovering and realizing what a great album Music from the Elder is. So if we in any way can help the original album to get the status that it deserves, I would be happy.
Mission accomplished. That's good. That's nice. You know, all I can say, Chris and Pask, this has been a real blast, you know, for all three and for the audience. So we hope this episode has you running out and getting this CD ASAP. So you will not be disappointed, I'm telling you. So if you want a copy, go to Ancient Door Project on Facebook and send a message asking for a copy or copies of the CD, and Chris will send you all the information on how to order. So do it. Do not hesitate a minute. This is really worth it. It's fresh, it's unique, and it's a true work of love.
No, it really is. And Chris, thank you again for being on the show. And I'm just going to say it. I like Music from the Elder, the original album. I like it. But your version, I love it. I believe, my opinion, that your version is the version that the original should have been. And if I were to introduce a new Kiss fan to Kiss, I would definitely send them your way and have a listen to your CD, because it's, first of all, The Elder it's so different from other Kiss music. But your version, it shows how complex the music of Kiss can really be, how deep it could really be. And I think fans should listen to your CD first before listening to the original Elder if they want to get into Kiss, my opinion.
As you said before, it's a very unique tribute. And, I think the Elder deserves, the accolades and give it a listen for people. But actually, I find that all diehard fans, they love the album. Most of them, they do. I couldn't find anybody saying, oh, that's a crappy album, as Paul and Gene say. With time, I think it has its unique, place in history. And it's so wonderful. It's amazing.
Yeah, so on behalf of Claudio and myself, Chris, thank you very much for being on our podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to talk to you guys. Great work. Thank you for doing this podcast.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and send our best regards to Jolene also. And it's been great to have you in the show.
Thank you.
So, to the Kiss Army, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. The Kiss Army Nation podcast has partnered up with Click T-Shop to offer our listeners a high-quality t-shirt with graphic design by Xander Graphics. Check out Click T-Shop at clickteeshop.com.